Thank you for tuning in to Breaking Down the Barriers on KZI 88.7 FM. I'm Beverly Reeves, your host for today's show. Breaking Down the Barriers is an initiative of the Austin Independent School District. This program was created to provide information on resources, programs, and district initiatives to support our families in preparing each and every student to be successful. Today's guests are Mr. John Shanks, Program Administrator of ACE Austin, and Ms. Desiree Morales, Grant Director of ACE Austin. They are with us today to discuss after-school programs available in Austin ISD. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So, Ms. Morales, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the roles you've held within the district?
Sure. So when I first came into Austin ISD 6 years ago, I was running the after-school program at Martin Middle School, and I was there for about a year. And after that, I came up to the main office and began supporting program development, creating new interdisciplinary programs, and writing small grant projects. So we had this really exciting program that was funded by AMD, where we brought school day teachers together with Austin Film Society instructors to do this mixed filmmaking, game development class that the teachers could then take from a summer program into their school day classroom. And then in the last year, I'm starting my second year as the grant director for ACE Austin, which means that I supervise programs in 10 schools, including the full-time site staff we have at each campus and the family engagement specialist who supports all 10 of those schools.
Okay. And John, you want to tell us about yourself?
Sure. So I've been in the district for 12 years. Started out as a 21st Century ACE site coordinator at Travis High School. And from that point, then moved into a grant director position, very similar to what Desiree just said, with our one of our Cycle 4 21st Century grants. Currently, I'm the project administrator for ACE Austin, and that's we oversee 2 grants, and it's 2 of the 21st Century grants, and that's how I'm just responsible for implementing, making sure that the grants run smooth, we're grant compliant, and that we serve the students of our district.
Okay. What exactly is ACE Austin? Is ACE an acronym?
Yes, ACE stands for After School Centers on Education, and this is an acronym that comes from TEA, who funds the state 21st Century program.
Okay. And I assume that all of our campuses have these programs?
We're actually in 20 Title I schools within Austin ISD. So when John mentioned that he supervises 2 grants, each grant can have up to 10 schools in it.
So if there are other programs that are after-school programs, they just don't fall under these 2 grants, correct?
Right. We coordinate with the leadership from all of those different agencies and teams to make sure we serve as many schools as possible.
What are the benefits of actually having after-school programs especially through this ACE Austin?
Well, certainly the benefits are some place to be, during the out-of-school time. But what are the benefit that you get from an ACE 21st Century grant is that we really look at targeting students, meeting the needs of the campuses and the surrounding community. All the activities that are in our grants center around academic enrichment, college and career readiness, and family engagement.
Okay, so these aren't just kids going after school and sitting down with their crayons and
Absolutely
coloring.
not.
So it's not a daycare.
Yeah. What we do really supplements school day learning. All of the activities are connected back to core academic themes, but it gives students an opportunity to explore those themes in real-world contexts, doing hands-on activities. Often, especially with STEM activities, we do a lot of workforce development. So some of our STEM activities, for example, with Austin Film Society or with any of the tech-based activities, the kids are often using technology that's professional grade software. Beyond just connecting to school day learning, it's important that the students have a voice in developing the after-school program.
Okay.
So every program reflects student interest and gives them a chance to play a leadership role on their campus, while also supporting learning in a deeper way.
Do all students at these 20 schools get to participate in this program, or are they selected to participate? Or is it by choice, I guess, is the question.
Well, the students are targeted based on the needs of the school. So that could look like if we're behavior management issues, or if there are attendance issues, or even grades. So that's the first tier where we target those students. And then the second tier would be looking at the needs of working families. And so we are typically able to serve between 115 to 140 students on an ongoing basis. And so that's depending on which school, you're looking around at maybe a third of the school.
Okay. So that's a little over 100 per school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So total in the program, you think you have a couple of thousand?
Much more than that. Oh, total in the program across all 20 schools?
Yeah, well, so if you want to talk total number of students that we have served, have had some contact with, it's been over 5,000 is what we served last year.
Okay. Well, that's a good number. And do the parents get involved? It sounded like you have family facilitators too?
Yes, we have some really exciting family programs. So of course we want families to come if they're available to attend field trips with us, to come at the end of a semester for our winter celebration and performances, or our big after-school showcase at the end of May. But along with those opportunities to see what their students are learning, we also offer classes for parents to continue their own learning and model that behavior for their students. So we have a lot of health and fitness classes. Zumba's really popular in our schools. We've got a lot of moms and dads doing Zumba. We also can offer GED courses, ESL. If families need support learning how to use technology, that's an opportunity we have. Right now we're looking at supporting parents who want to develop their skills throughout the year, helping their own students work on their homework, so things like that.
Oh, that's great. And what does a typical day in the life of a student who's going through this program look like? So they go through their regular school day, and then 3:15, whatever time they get out of school now, they go to ACE and they do what?
Well, again, depending on, if we're looking at elementary or secondary, your elementary students, you're looking at a typical day is they get to have their snack or meal as soon as school lets out. They are led to typically the cafeteria. And from that point, they get time to enjoy their snack, relax, further meal, kind of have a little socialization with their peers. And then they'll get time for what we call WOW time. And do you remember the acronym for WOW?
I don't.
We should know that. WOW.
That's something to do with physical.
But it is physical. But it's where we have for 45 minutes. Research shows they should have 45 minutes of some kind of physical activity. So there's 45 minutes of activity. It's structured play, and at that when that ends, then they go to their classes. And those are some of the classes and activities that Desiree mentioned. We were talking film, gardening, robotics. All those kind of things that are in an after-school program. And then at that point, once the class is in, we allow for some homework time. Because we know that's really important for our parents, that if we can allow the time for the students to get that homework done before they pick them up.
Okay, and so What about secondary? Do they have the after-school program also?
Yes, we have 5 middle schools, and the program is similar, but of course scaffolded to that age group. So they do come into the cafeteria after school gets out, and they get a snack or a meal as well, some time to just kind of decompress and have a snack with their friends. And then once that is over, they will go to their activities. It's a little looser. Their parents don't choose their activities. So the first couple of weeks, we let them kind of shop around, see what they're excited about, see if they're willing to try something new. And then they'll go to their activities until the end of programming. We do also have a homework haven space, that's what we call it. So if there are students who just need to stay after and do homework, or if they've stayed for tutoring but they're not actually in our program, there's a space for them to get support from TAs or sometimes school day teachers on their homework assignments.
Since this is a grant program, there's no cost to the families, correct?
Right.
Perfect.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's perfect. It sounds like that you get an all-around experience in this ACE program with a snack, decompression time. It sounds like something we need here
Yes.
at work ourselves. Get to go to classes, and then finish up homework if needed. Is this something that has developed as the program has gone along throughout the years, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's evolved a great deal. I think when a lot of funding opportunities started popping up for out-of-school time programs, it really was about creating a safe space for children to be after school. But what we've realized is that this is an opportunity for more learning time, and a culture has evolved that it's really a different kind of learning time. It's a time to develop social emotional skills. It's a time to do that hands-on learning like we were talking about. We have like a no worksheets rule where kids really need to be doing things. And so that's definitely something that's developed over the 20 or 30 years that these programs have been in place.
Absolutely. When I first started, 12 years ago, a lot of the misconception was just, babysitting service.
Yeah.
We just someplace to, have the students be during those critical afternoon times. And you look at where we've come from that point on. It's night and day as far as the opportunities and the learning that's going on.
So is there any statistical information about the impact of students who are going through these programs? Does it really impact their academics or their growth? Or
Absolutely. I don't have the numbers memorized, but I can say that students who are participating in our program are more likely to attend school. They're more likely to report feeling positive identity with their school and their school community, and feeling like they have adults on the campus who they connect with. They tend to perform better academically, and they tend to improve discipline issues. So those kinds of discipline referrals and behavioral issues can go down.
it sounds like a really good program that would be beneficial to students all over the district.
Absolutely.
Is there a way to expand the program, or is it a resource issue?
It's a resource issue.
Okay.
So the ACE program, as we know it, that is, as I said earlier, is funded through TEA. It's actual federal money.
Okay.
And so it is limited. Each grant is limited to 10 schools. And in the past, it was 5 years per grant. And the grant that we just received is only 3 years. So it is limited funding. Looking at expanding what we do it's more resources into the other schools that aren't in these two grants.
Okay. But it sounds like there are other programs going on at the other schools who don't happen to have ACE that could still have the same type of impact on students.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's the city of Austin, they have a source of funding for after school, and that's prime time.
Okay.
And so that is one of the long-standing after school programs that's been in the Austin ISD.
Okay. So you talked about the students who are selected to participate in the program, and how this program helps to meet their needs academically and socially. Talked about STEM-based programs, and allowing the students to pick the program that interests them most. Is there a favorite program that you see at the elementary or middle school level that students seem to gravitate towards?
I think the 4-H programs are really popular.
Okay.
4-H does gardening at some of our schools, and they also have a goat program and an egg to chick program. So when I talk about hands-on learning, that's exactly what they're doing. They build raised beds at the schools, and then the schools have gardens, and the kids grow the vegetables themselves, or they raise chicks, or they raise goats. So those are some exciting programs at the elementary level.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Middle school, no favorite?
So, well, those middle school students, it's kind of tough. I would say, obviously the health and fitness, are always popular. We've got football, soccer. What is one of the other?
So we have some really exciting middle school programs. Some of my favorites that I see students really actively engaging in are music programs. We have a lot of small agencies that just come in and lead a rock band with kids. Or we have this great group that does bike clubs with the kids and helps them figure out, they learn about bike maintenance and safety, but also traffic safety so that they can ride around their own neighborhoods. And those are all really popular programs. I think anything that gives the kids some agency really lights them up at that age.
Well, that's good to know. I understand we have after-school programs, but I also understand that we might have some summer programs tied to ACE. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So our summer programs are 6 weeks programs. They start the week after school ends, and they are in the elementary all-day camps that provide, providing assistance for our working families. Our secondary schools typically do 6 to 8 hours per day, and it's Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And I guess this year coming up, it'll be for the first 4 months in June that we have our shutdown week, and then we'll program for the 2 weeks afterward.
Okay.
And through the summer program, we've partnered with the KDK Harmon Grant at some of our elementary schools. And this is a STEM grant that allows for additional funding to really expand the program. And that's something I'll let, Desiree has worked very closely with this program, so I'll let her kind of expand on what it looks like summer in elementary.
Summer's my favorite part of our programs. One, because it's a really fun time, and two, because I think it's the most crucial period of time when we serve students. That's what their families report, and that's also what the data is showing. When we look at the achievement gap, that's really happening in summer when low-income students typically don't have engaging activities to participate in and are often at home taking care of younger siblings, or just being told by their families you need to stay inside because there's no one watching you, things like that. So our programs, they're 6 weeks long, primarily because data shows that a full day, 5-day-a-week, 6-week summer program is what you need in order for students to make some gains in the summer, to sort of keep up the momentum that they get going during school. Beyond just academic learning, we also have that structured playtime we talked about before in there. We partner with Dr. Andrew Springer from the UT School of Health to develop best practices around physical activity to ensure that students are also getting that active time and continuing healthy habits that they learned during the school year. So that's a big part of it. Our elementary programs, like John mentioned, particularly the ones that are funded through the KDK Harmon Foundation, are an integrated academics and enrichment program. So it's a full day of learning. In the morning, they're doing academic-based activities with school day teachers, and then in the afternoons, they're with our vendors, our community-based partners, doing STEM-based activities, or they're just doing a class we call Camp Spirit, which is what you think of when you think of summer camp. I kind of think of it as like the Parent Trap activities, so that's really fun. And then at the middle school level, you know, they maybe don't need that kind of structure, so it's a lot more. It's more drop-in, like kids will come in for the one activity that they're really excited about and stay as long as they need to. So for them, it really is an open community space that they call their own, where they can be during the summer, socializing with their peers or doing learning on their own. We, in our middle schools in the summer, do a lot of what's called Homago, which I think, see if I can remember the acronym. It's like hanging out, messing around. I'm not gonna be able to remember the whole acronym. Basically, the concept is that at this age, they need to be a little bit self-directed. So you give them the space, you give them the tools and resources for learning to happen. We have books and things like that. And you kind of let them guide that. And part of the activity can also be just that they're hanging out with their friends.
Okay. Is that, are these summer programs in a single location, or are they at the various schools?
They're based at each school,
Okay.
And that's important so that we can be sure that we're serving that school community.
Okay.
Another important element of that is that we, each school site is a food site for federally funded feeding programs, so that becomes a hub for anyone under 18 who needs to come in for lunch.
And the students who can take part in these summer programs are only the students that were taking part during the school year?
We will take new students. They do have to be enrolled in that school or enrolling in that school. So if they're rising sixth graders, they can participate in our middle school program.
So they do have to be attached to that.
Yes.
To the school.
Yes.
Okay. What about you talked about the statistics about the achievement gap growing during the summer, and we know how that happens. So we have the summer programs to help keep that gap from happening and hopefully start closing it. Talking to the students, have you found out what it is that they like the most about participating in these programs? I can assume that the parents like the fact that they know where their kids are going to be and they don't have to worry about paying for childcare during the summer, because that's a huge expense on a lot of our families. But what about the kids? What do they seem to think?
So we make a point of going on new field trips in the summer. That's a really important thing, especially because we're based at the schools where they are all year. So that's one of the ways we make it really different and special. So I would say, hands down at the elementary school level, the field trips. Probably for a lot of the middle school kids too, though I think the middle school kids might be more excited to say, like, I'm so glad I can continue my bike club during the summer, or like I can still make film or music and express myself, whatever it is, being part of that community. But the younger kids, if I talk to them about summer at all, they're flipping out about one of the places that they got to go last year and just like jumping up and down with excitement.
They do anywhere from 10 to 15 field trips over the course of the 6 weeks. But you do remember we were at one of our middle schools talking with the new principal about the program coming up for the following year, and we did have a staff member tell us that they were there at the campus over the summer. And the students did come up to her and say, just how much fun and how cool it was to go and get out of the neighborhood, get out of the community school on those field trips. And that was from our middle schoolers.
That's great. So it sounds like part of the program is a continuation of what they were doing during the school year.
A little bit, yes.
And then you have the added field trips to different locations. Well, that's good to know. It sounds like the ACE Austin program is providing some really good options and opportunities for our students and our families if they are able to take advantage of some of that learning how to help their own child with homework or getting a GED or learning to use the computer, those things also benefit the students because that way they can bond with their child in that homework process. Well, we've run out of time. I want to thank John Shanks and Desiree Morales for being here and talking about ACE Austin. And thank you for joining us again on Breaking Down the Barriers. To keep up with information in the district and the AISD community, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at AISD_BDB or Instagram. Also watch Breaking Down the Barriers on AISD's Channel 22 and every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. I'm your host, Beverly Reeves, and I look forward to talking to you next time on Breaking Down the Barriers.